Hey guys, plan for today is to work on some revolved arm balances such as side crow and Koundinyasana 1. Let's get started. Let's begin in Vinyasa, lightning bolt pose. Sit on top of the thighs, resting the tops of the feet on the floor, the knees together. Tuck the tail just slightly so we're not back bending in the lower back, but keeping a nice straight spine. And we'll lower the chin just a tad. If you'd like to join the palms at the base of the thighs and the two thumbs will join, do that. Bring your awareness into your breath, trying to slow that down a little bit. Let go of any expectations that you have for your body or for this class today, and just be present in the body, listening to any signals, sensations it may be sending you. Okay, you can open the eyes. We'll bring the arms out to the sides, flip the palms open, and reach up towards the ceiling. We're going to take a bind here, so interlace the fingers, press the palms up towards the ceiling. Maybe see if you can straighten out the arms a little bit more by drawing the biceps towards one another, but open up the armpits towards the sides of the room. If you feel like the rib cage is lifting, draw it back down, tucking the tail again, creating that nice long spine. Inhale. And exhale the hands to the floor. We've been in this position for a little while, so we'll just walk out the feet and plank for a second, maybe extending the right toes, rocking the heel back and forth, doing that to the other side. Just letting go of any intensity at the backs of the knees, the thighs, opening up the ankles a little bit more. And then make your way all the way onto the floor. Let's set up for a cobra. Press the tops of the feet into the floor, lift the kneecaps by flexing the quadriceps. Bring the hands up underneath the elbows, so a little farther back from the chest. Draw the elbows back, squeeze the shoulder blades onto the back, and lift the heart. Gonna try some unsupported cobra, so you can lift the hands, draw the shoulders more back, curl the heart forward. Make sure you're breathing. If you're all the way up here and you're holding the breath, just come a little bit out of the pose. Really root through that base, top of the feet, pressing the pelvic bones into the floor. Inhale. Exhale, hands come back onto the floor. Tuck the toes, press yourself back into downward dog. Separate the feet, maybe hip distance apart. Spread the fingers. Press the mat away. Maybe you pedal out the feet here, opening up the backs of the legs one side at a time. Draw the belly in, send the whole rib cage deeper towards the thighs as well. We'll take a little twisted variation, so we're going to bend the knees, bringing the torso almost on top of the thighs, and then twist the hips over towards the right, lengthening through the left side body. Can lift the hips a little bit more, keep them lower, whatever is going to help lengthen that left side. We'll walk all over to the other side, so bending the hips towards the left, knees come out towards the right, lengthening the right side of the body. Back to downward dog. Over towards the right again, stretching out that left side. Back to center. And out towards the left. Come back into your normal downward dog. Bend the knees, look forward, step, jump, hop. Make your way to the front of the mat. Find your flat back here, so maybe the fingertips stay on the floor, they come to the shins. Even if you can straighten out the legs all the way, bend the knees. Exhale, forward fold. Keep the hips reaching high, lengthening downward through the chest. See if you can feel this stretch through the backs of the legs, the lower back, and the upper back evenly. So anything you need to do to reposition, feel that whole back body lengthening, do that. On your next inhale, bring the hands to the hips. Come into your flat back, bending the knees heavily, but with strong feet and belly in. Inhale yourself all the way up into Tadasana. In your mountain pose, squeeze inner thighs, lengthen the tail towards the floor. Extend downward through the fingertips, setting the shoulder blades down, but lifting up at the heart, lifting through the crown of the head. On your next inhale, reach up. Palms touch at the end of that inhale. We'll find that clasp again like we did seated, so you can join the palms and press the insides of the hands up towards the ceiling. Taking a little crescent pose or side stretch here. Lengthen the torso away from the body, draw the belly in. Send the hips over towards the left, but stretch out towards the right. Same mountain pose cues here. Squeeze inner thighs, tuck the tail. Inhale back upright. We'll do this the other side, so make sure to lengthen first, then turn over towards the left side, sending the hips out towards the right. Maybe you turn the heart up a little bit more up towards the ceiling. And inhale, back to upward hands. And exhale, hands come to heart center. Okay, inhale, reach up towards the ceiling. And exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, flat back, find your cow shape. And exhale, bring the hands all the way onto the floor. Bend the knees, hop back into downward dog. Bring the feet a little closer together. Inhale the right heel up towards the ceiling for one-legged downward dog. We're going to take some revolve flying pigeons, unless you call it cheetah pose. So we'll inhale, lengthen a little bit more. And then exhale, point the toes, bring the knee in towards the chest. Hover forward, shoulders in front of the wrist. Draw the knee up and maybe twist over towards the left side. Inhale, lengthen back up towards the ceiling. Exhale, knee into chest, shoulders more forward in front of the wrists. Inhale, lengthen back. And exhale, bring the right foot in between the hands for high lunge. Runner's lunge until we inhale, arms up for high lunge. Send the left side of the body down, stacking the right knee above the ankle. Keep on revolving the belly forward, the heart forward as well. So we're going to take a transition into holding the knee revolved from high lunge. You'll see where we're going. So on the next inhale, lift off of that back thigh, grab onto the outside of the knee with the right hand, twisting the left hand behind. Exhale, step back. Inhale, find the outside of that knee again. Turn the heart towards the left side of the room. Keep on pressing the left knee forward. Inhale, back. Exhale one more time. Bring that knee forward. This time we'll find extended revolve big toe pose. How this is going to look, either you stay right here or you start to straighten out the leg. Maybe you find the outside of that foot, hold on to it, press the foot into the hand. Draw the belly in. Maybe you turn that gaze over the left fingertips. You don't have to. You can keep the gaze out in front to steady the balance. Inhale back to center. Lifting those left toes, engage the quadricep. And exhale, step on back, back to high lunge. One inhale here. And exhale the hands to the floor. We're going to take some handstand hops back to chaturanga. So you're going to bring the right foot halfway. This will be your kickstand. Left heel is going to reach up. Maybe just shift the shoulders more forward and come onto the toes. Or you really activate the top of that back leg and do a little lift. Right heel can come in towards the glute. Squeeze the biceps. Maybe you find a little hang time here. You can stay in stag leg or split leg. It's going to help your balance. Deep breath in. And then gently bring the right foot back here. Left foot finds the floor as well in your chaturanga. Inhale, cobra or up dog, your choice. And exhale, roll over the toes, downward dog. Smooth out that breath. Especially if you were doing those handstand hops successfully, probably heart rated a little bit elevated. Try to slow it down. Deep breath in. On the exhale, bend the knees, look forward, step, walk, hop. Stepping opposite foot as last time if you do step. Landing lightly. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, half forward fold. And exhale, full fold. Inhale, reach the arms up towards the ceiling. Send the hips forward a little bit, lengthen through each and every fingertip. And exhale, bring the hands back to heart center. We'll do that all on the other side. Inhale, reach up, rooting into the floor a little bit deeper to extend upward more through the fingertips. And exhale, fold forward. Inhale, flatten out, belly away from the thighs. And exhale, hands onto the floor. If you need to bring the feet a little bit farther back in order to successfully hop back into downward dog, do that. Make sure the knees and elbows are a little bit bent, not hyperextending them when you hop back as well. Bring the feet a little closer. We're going to inhale the left heel up towards the ceiling, one-legged downward dog. Exhale, point the toes, knee in towards the chest. Hover forward, shoulders more in front of the wrist. Turn the biceps forward and left knee to left tricep, right tricep, sorry. Inhale, lengthen out. Exhale, twist, drawing the belly in to increase that twist and bring the knee higher. Inhale, lengthen again. And exhale, this time the left foot finds the space in between the hands. Runner's lunge here, just to bring the left knee above the ankle and power up the back leg before you inhale all the way up for high lunge. Keep on sending the right side of the body forward, left side back, just to square the hips a little bit more evenly. We'll take that transition to a standing revolved knee hold. So inhale and press the right knee up. Grab onto it with the left hand, reaching the right hand back into space. Exhale, back to high lunge. Inhale, kick that thigh up again. Revolve the belly towards the right side of the room, maybe turning the gaze over that right thumb. Inhale back, maybe you're a little bit wobbly and that's okay. Exhale, go ahead and find that knee again. Hold right here, or you can find the outside of the foot. Reach that foot forward. Draw the belly in, squeeze the inner thighs. Maybe turn the gaze over that right thumb. On your next inhale, face the front of the room, keeping that right leg lifted. And exhale, right foot finds the floor behind, high lunge. Inhale here, maybe turn the gaze up. And exhale the hands to heart center to the floor. We'll find that handstand hops again. Left foot comes back to be your kickstand. Reach the right heel up. Again, you can just shift weight forward, coming more and more onto the ball of the left foot. You don't have to hop up here. Maybe do some little hops, trying to find a little steadiness. Or maybe you hop all the way into your handstand. Straightening out the legs is your final form of handstand. If you're still working with it, just try the bent legs like this. Keep the gaze forward in front of you to help you balance. Inhale. Exhale, bend the elbows back for chaturanga. Left foot finds the floor, then the right. Inhale, up dog. And exhale, roll over the toes, downward dog. Squeeze the shoulder blades up into the back, lengthening those fronts of the shoulders away from the ears. Maybe this enables you to open the heart a little bit more. Deep breath in. On the exhale, bend the knees, turn the gaze forward, hop. Front of the mat, lightly on the toes, bent knees. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Maybe turn the gaze forward. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reach all the way up. And exhale those hands to heart center. Take a few breaths in mountain pose. Just working on rooting down through all four corners of the feet instead of gripping with the toes, maybe even lift those toes. Okay, find Utkatasana, fierce pose. Feet are going to come close together. Send the hips back, squeeze the inner thighs, tuck the tail just a little bit. Reach the arms out in front. See how low you can get without bringing the knees too far forward, so we'll keep on sending the knees back. Try to bring the weight more into the heels. Engage the shoulders into the back, reach up. Inhale, maybe turn the gaze up. And exhale, hands to heart center. We're going to revolve over towards the right. Twist and bring the left elbow to the outside of the right thigh. Press the elbow into the thigh to bring the hands to heart center. Heart revolves towards the thumbs. Thumbs stay where they are. Maybe you turn the gaze towards the left knee, send it back, left hip as well as they're creeping out to the side. We'll take some transitions from here to revolved lunge. So on the inhale, bring the weight into the right foot. Step back. Exhale here, powering up the back leg, revolving more towards the right side. Inhale, look at the floor. Step that left foot forward. Finding your revolved Utkatasana again. Inhale, step back. One more time, exhale forward. And inhale, step back, maybe turning the gaze up towards the ceiling. If you can go a little bit deeper here, bring the left hand to the outside of the right foot and the right hand can extend upward. Keep on powering up that back leg. We're not sagging the hips to get the twist, but using the legs and the core to get deeper into our pose. On the next inhale, we'll revolve up to warrior two. So back toes come onto the floor. Reach in two opposing directions. Bring that right knee right above the ankle. Spread the inner thighs, tuck the tail towards the floor. On the next inhale, reverse your warrior. Left arm comes down the leg, turn the right palm up, and reach back. Same stance in those legs as warrior two. The knee's going to keep on coming forward and back. Press that back leg into the arm. Use the core to keep yourself upright. So if you were to lift that bottom hand briefly, you'd be able to keep yourself upright. On the next inhale, back to warrior two. And exhale, hands to the floor. One-legged downward dog. Bring those left toes onto the floor and reach the right heel up towards the ceiling. Inhale, lengthen a little bit more. Exhale, revolve flying pigeon and revolve cheetah pose. Knee over to right, left tricep. Inhale, lengthen back up. Exhale, knee to left tricep. This time extend the leg. Bring it on back. One more time, exhale forward. Twist, outside of the right foot comes onto the floor. Come onto the inside of that left foot and reach the right hand up for fallen triangle, I guess it's called. Keep on turning the heart towards the left side of the room. Lift the hips, straighten out the legs. Inhale. And exhale, both hands come to the floor. Same kind of shape. This right foot's going to stay where it is, but we'll come onto the left toes. Ground the left hand this time. Extend the right hand up towards the ceiling. If you need to bend this right knee a little bit, do that. Try to stack the shoulders, turn the gaze up. Deep breath in. And exhale, both hands to the floor. We're coming into a prone revolved triangle shape, so the left toes are going to come back until the right hip is on the floor. You can stay right here. Maybe the top of the left foot comes onto the floor. You can reach out and bring the chest on the floor. Maybe you bring the left hand to the foot, kind of like you would for a revolved triangle. Square the chest. The gaze can turn over towards the right fingertips. Keep on drawing the belly in, revolving it towards the floor. Deep breath in. On the exhale, both hands come to the floor. Press yourself back into downward dog. Find some movement here if you need, or just stay still. Okay, so we'll find our way to the front of the mat doing some L hops, some handstand hops. The legs are going to stay relatively straight. We'll start by bending the knees, bring the legs all the way together. Turn the gaze forward, keep the biceps hugged in as you hop forward, straightening out the legs. So maybe you just hover a little, straighten out the legs, come back towards the floor. Do that a couple times, maybe stacking the hips. Eventually, maybe you hold, and then slowly bring the feet to floor. Hopefully keeping the knees close together, mine separated a little bit, that's okay. Inhale, find your half forward fold, turn that heart forward, hips back. And exhale, full forward fold. Inhale, reach the arms up towards the ceiling, maybe a little back bend here. Exhale, hands to heart center. We'll do that sequence on the other side, starting with Utkatasana. Hips are gonna come back, hands maybe start at heart center, draw the shoulders onto the back, flatten out that lower spine, reach the arms forward. Draw the belly and suck the lower ribs in. Maybe you reach the arms a little bit higher, turn the gaze a little bit upward, way back into the heels. And we'll twist. Hands come to heart center. Bring them over towards the left side, and that right elbow will come to the outside of the left thigh. Press into the thigh, bring the sternum towards the thumbs. Maybe you stack the elbows and turn the gaze upward. Unless you need to look at your form, bring the right knee back, the right hip back if they're creeping out to the side. We'll do those transitions from here to revolve low lunge. So inhale, take a step back. Exhale, twist a little bit deeper. Inhale, turn the gaze to the floor, maybe as you step back forward. Inhale, back. Exhale, take that step forward. One more time, try to find some gracefulness in this pose. Step it on back. Revolve a little bit deeper. Power up that back leg, draw the belly, and we're not sinking into the thigh, but using the elbow to lift the upper body away from the thigh. If you'd like, right hand can come to the outside of the foot and the left hand can extend upward. This is going to help you later where we find some twisted arm balances by bringing both hands on the floor. There are other ways to get into them though, don't worry. On the next inhale, come all the way up into your Warrior 2, Virabhadrasana 2. Deep bend in that left knee, sending the left bones back. Left leg bones back to tuck the tail a little bit stronger. Squeeze the shoulder blades in, but extend outward through the fingertips. On the next inhale, right hand to the thigh, turn the left palm up, reach back, Viparita Virabhadrasana. Keep on turning the heart up, maybe you turn the gaze towards the fingertips, making sure they're doing their work here, reaching out and away from the body. Inhale back up, and the hands will come to the floor. Find your one-legged downward dog. Inhale, closing down the hips, but extending that leg a little bit longer. Exhale, knee to chest, float forward, twisting over to this right side. Puff the upper back. Inhale, one-legged downward dog. Exhale, come over towards the right again. This time maybe extending the leg, foot doesn't go on the floor quite yet. Inhale, lengthen back. Exhale, come forward. This time left foot comes outside of the foot, stays planted into the floor. Bottom of the right foot into the floor. Lift that right hand up towards the ceiling. Try to stack the shoulders, pressing into those feet to lift the hips a little bit more. Inhale. Exhale, right hand to the floor. Same kind of shape will come onto the right toes. Maybe a little bit of a bend in that left knee if you need. And extend the left hand up towards the ceiling. Draw the belly in a lot. We're lengthening through that left IT bend here like you would in a revolved triangle. Inhale. Exhale, both hands to the floor, finding prone revolved triangle. Right thigh comes onto the floor, left hip as well. Try to drop the chest, extend the arms in two opposing directions. Keep on trying to bring that right hip into the floor. Draw the belly in, revolve that towards the left side of the room. Maybe you turn the gaze over towards the left fingertips as well. Bring both hands onto the floor. Press yourself into downward dog. Take a few breaths, pedaling out the feet if you need to. This time we'll come all the way onto the floor. So knees down, bring the legs out in front. Maybe you do your Ashtanga swing through if you know how to do that or want to do it, but we're working on arm balances. So if that's going to tire you out before we get to the good stuff, just come onto the back an easier way. Keep the feet onto the floor. Smooth out that breath. So one way to get into arm balances is to make those shapes upside down at first or on your back. So we'll be doing some core work, same exact shapes, just without placing any weight on the hands. You'll see how it goes. First up, Supta Bakasana, Supine Crow Pose. So, bring the knees up. Do your kind of supine squat like you would get into this pose on the toes. Bring the knees out to the side. We'll bring the arms forward and reach the arms up towards the ceiling. Chaturanga the arms a little bit, bending them in. Spread the fingers like you were planting them straight into the floor. We're going to hug the knees into the side. Bring the big toes together. Flatten out the lower back. Press into the big toes. Lift, puff up the upper back, root down stronger through the hands. Squeeze the triceps into the knees, knees into the triceps. Deep breath in. Exhale, soften. You can hug onto knees or maybe lengthen out the core. Windshield wipers, anything you need to do to reset. Next, we're going to do revolved crow. So, pretty much same thing except both knees are going to come out to one side. You can bring the knees together, over towards the left at first. Hug that midline there, squeezing the calves and the inner thighs. Bring the arms out to the right. You can start by stretching out. Chaturanga the arms a little, spread the fingers. Bring the knees up into the left tricep. So if you're in this pose and you're balancing on the hands, if the knees don't make it beyond the elbow, you're not going to be able to balance. So if you know already, I can't get my knees above the elbow, maybe save the full arm balance for another day. Squeeze the arm into the knee, knee into the arm, draw the belly, puff the upper back, bend the elbows just a little bit, spread the fingers. Inhale. Exhale to the floor, softening here. Maybe a little supine bound angle to reset if you'd like. This is going to open up the inner thighs. We're squeezing them in together. Do that little reset here, find some openness. Other side, Supta Parshva Bakasana. Bring the knees in, shift them over towards the right, arms will come out towards the left. Spread the fingers, reach out forward, puffing up that upper back. Core is going to come in, feel the lower back connect into the floor. Lift the hips maybe away from the floor. Squeeze the knees in, maybe bend the elbows a little bit. Again, we want this knee to the tricep, not below. See if you can do that. Deep breath in. Exhale, soften. We're also squeezing the tops of the thighs a lot here. So if you need to lengthen them, or maybe do a little quad stretch just by grabbing the foot, lengthen a little bit, especially if you're cramping here. You may find you do that in these arm balances. Take this time to maybe lengthen a little bit. Next one we're going to do Supta Dvipada Koundinyasana. Same thing as side crow, but the legs are going to extend. So bring the knees up, shoot the heels up towards the ceiling for your supine staff pose. We'll bring the feet out towards the left, arms out towards the right. See if you can chaturanga the arms, puff the upper back. Try to get these thighs deeper out towards the left tricep. Energy out through the heels, through the toes. Deep breath in. Exhale, soften. Knees can come in if you'd like. A lot of twists to get into this pose. So we're going to revolve the abdomen towards the opposite side as the legs. Other side. Bring the knees up. Straighten out the thighs. Lift up through the heels. Reach over towards the right. Maybe lift the hips a little bit off the floor by pressing the lower back into the mat. Arms out to the left. Squeeze. Toes are going to come towards the wall behind you. Maybe chaturanga the arms and place the tricep bent towards the thigh. Straighten out those fingers. You can already see how much work the hands are doing without even placing any weight into the floor. Inhale. And exhale, soften. Mini Shavasana. Lengthen the arms and legs. If you need to lengthen out the belly a little bit, maybe come into some supine cat-cows, tilting the tail towards the floor, lifting it up. Maybe a little bridge here to lengthen out the belly again in the fronts of the thighs. And you can soften out of that. Again, maybe you do your Ashtanga swing through back to the mat. We're conserving energy for those other arm balances though. So maybe you just bring the arms out in front, uncross the legs, and make your way into downward dog. Find your way to the front of the mat. On the exhale, maybe hopping forward if you'd like. You can inhale, half fold. Exhale, fold a little bit deeper, compressing the abdomen into the thighs. Can inhale, lengthen up. And exhale, hands to heart center. First way we're going to get into a Bakasana, real arm balance, is through a squat. So you can widen the feet, hip distance apart, or a little bit wider. Toes are going to turn out so knees can turn out as well. Start by dipping low. Maybe bring the hands to heart center, send the tail towards the floor, lift the heart. If you can't quite make it that low to the squat, hips can lift a little bit as well. So we'll place the hands on the floor. Shift the shoulders forward, bend the elbows back like you would for chaturanga. Puff the upper back, but keep the gaze forward. That's going to help your balance. Squeeze the knees in, shift the weight forward. Maybe you stay right here, or maybe you lift one foot towards the midline. Maybe then practice with the other. Maybe both toes up, come off the floor, and you try to lift a little bit more. Crow pose, the hips are going to stay back and the heart a little bit more forward instead of straight arm crane. You can do whichever one you'd like here. Hold, drawing the belly and really engaging your root chakra and to keep lifted for longer, really engage the lower belly, Mula Bandha, and your pelvic floor as well. Or that is Mula Bandha actually. Okay, come out of that. Straighten out the legs again, forward fold. So for our next arm balance, Partial Bakasana, side curl, we'll start in a toe balance. So you'll come onto the toes here with the knees together. Drawing the knees forward, tucking the tail, hands can come to heart. So the way we get into this pose is we're going to bring the hands all the way over to the left. If they can't quite make it, shift the knees over towards the right, kind of when we were upside down. Knees to the right, hands to the left. Make sure this knee is above the tricep. If you need to lift the hips, chaturanga the arms. Squeeze the thighs together, bringing them on top of the right arm. Puff the upper back, look forward, bring the legs up. Squeeze the toes in towards one another. You can stay a little more lifted, or maybe you sink a little bit deeper, whichever is preferable for you. Toes come back down onto the floor. Take a little rest if you need, sitting on top of the thighs, Vajrasana again. The other side, I'll switch around so you can see me do it a little bit better on this side. Find your toe balance. Shift the knees over to the left, hands over to the right. Plant the hands. Maybe you bring the arms a little bit more in front so you can chaturanga the arms. Start to lean the weight forward, turning the gaze forward. Puff the upper back, squeeze the thighs, squeeze the toes, lift the toes. Make sure you're breathing if you're in your arm balance and you're holding your breath. Maybe come a little bit out of it, toes on the floor, just to make sure you're not holding. One more breath here. Slowly make your way out with as much control as you came in, not just plopping onto the floor, 1 foot or 2 at a time, coming out gradually. Sit on top of the thighs again, rest a little bit. If you need to do some shoulder rolls, do that. Maybe the wrists are a little bit fatigued. Just do some blinkers or your top of the wrist stretch, reverse wrist stretch as well. Any of those will work. From here, find your downward dog. So we did a lot of those revolved cheetahs or revolved flying pigeons, whatever you want to call those. Those are going to turn into an arm balance as well here in your Koundinyasana 1 pose. So we'll find that here. Ekapada Koundinyasana anyway. So bring the feet a little closer. Inhale, one-legged downward dog. Exhale, knee to chest, revolve over. Eventually we're going to get this thigh to the top of the tricep. If that doesn't work quite yet, hop the left foot in, chaturanga the arms, bring that knee there. Maybe you need to bring the foot onto the floor and do a little twist to the side to get your hands set up for the arm balance. Do that if you need to. Come back into your kind of cheetah shape here. Extend the right toes out towards the side. Maybe you just stay here with the left toes on the floor, you lift them up as well. Ekapada Koundinyasana. Stay here trying to bring the hips lower onto the floor so the hips are going to be about level to the shoulders and that leg. If you can get it that way, right elbow can rest on the side or bring it out to the side. Dvipada, bring both the legs together. Energy out through those toes. Keep on drawing the belly and lifting the pelvic floor, drawing the hips lower. So if you'd like to bend the knees from here, you're coming into your side crow. Great transition. Side crow. Dvipada Koundinyasana. Ekapada. And then you come out. I'm a little bit sweaty and I'm sliding off my thigh. You can always wear leggings in order for that knee to stick a little bit more, or bring a towel and that'll help as well. We'll reset, go to the other side. I'll turn around so you can see me. Start in your downward dog. Inhale, left heel up towards the ceiling. Exhale, revolve cheetah. Again, maybe the left foot comes onto the floor. Creep the right foot in. Send the hips deeper towards the floor. Belly revolves over to the left so you can bring the hands to the floor. Chaturanga. Wait for it. Puff the upper back. Lengthen that left leg. Maybe bring the right toes off the floor for Ekapada Koundinyasana 1. Trying to lower the hips a little. This left elbow can stay into the body to help lift it, or you can bring it out to the side eventually. From Ekapada, try bringing the legs together for Dvipada, 2-legged Koundinyasana. Again, lowering the hips here, turning the gaze forward, or maybe eventually over those toes. Again, I'm having some slippery issues over here, but if you want to turn that Dvipada into Parshabhakasana, back to Dvipada, without dropping the head, or maybe use the head, bring the right toes back, and gently come out of the pose. Shake out those wrists. We're done for our arm balancing for today. If those seem pretty impossible, maybe you come back to this practice several times. Not easy poses here either, so just be happy in the prep work you've done as well if you haven't quite made it into any of the arm balances. Let's cool down. So Like I said a little bit earlier, to do those arm balances, there's a lot of squeezing into the chest, squeezing into the abdomen, squeezing into the tops of the thighs. So we're going to lengthen all of those here. Starting with bridge, bring the feet underneath the knees, lengthen the arms towards the toes, shrug the shoulder blades a little bit closer, one at a time. You want to feel a shelf for your heart to sit on, bringing the elbows a little bit inward as well if you can. Press to the top of the head, those shoulder blades in the feet to lift the hips up towards the ceiling. Draw the belly and lengthen here, lengthen the front of the thighs, engage the glutes. This is going to help press the hips more up and lengthen through the quadriceps and the hip flexors. Maybe you take a bind into the lower back. Keep on bringing those shoulders forward, inward rather. Turn the heart towards the chin like you were doing a cobra. Gaze straight up. Deep breath in. And you can lower one vertebrae at a time. Don't bring the knees in quite yet. We're going to do one more back bend. So you can windshield wipe the knees or take constructive rest where the feet are wide and the knees are in. Just widening the base of the lower back. If you wanted to take your upward bow, I'll cue you, or you can do a variation of upward bow that stays more in a bridge. So the hands are going to come underneath the shoulders. If you can't quite get them underneath the shoulders, a little bit behind will do. If you can't get the fingers pointed towards the body, maybe a little bit out as well. Bring the feet onto the floor, squeeze the shoulder blades, lift the hips, stay here in your bridge, maybe pointing the elbows in. Or press through the hands, use the leg weight a lot here, press into those feet, bring the head onto the floor. Keep those elbows back rather than out, squeeze the shoulder blades in, maybe come all the way up into your upward bow. Draw the belly and think about pressing the tail up. Draw the torso more towards the front of the room, maybe the knees out forward to lengthen the front of the body in two opposing directions. Inhale, and exhale, gently find your way onto the floor. Widen knees, we'll do windshield wipers. Flex the toes, move the knees over towards that right side. Bring the right ankle on top of the left thigh, drag downward and forward. You can also reach overhead, clasp onto the right wrist, pull overhead. We're lengthening a little bit at the inside of the thigh. Maybe you feel this at the outside of the left hip as well. Draw the belly, and this is going to help increase that twisting, lengthening feeling. You're feeling down in the thighs and in the abdomen. Inhale. Exhale, bring yourself upright. We'll do this on the other side. Make sure those toes are lifting, flexing towards the calves. Move the knees over towards the left. Left ankle, right thigh. Reach overhead, clasp onto that left wrist, pull overhead. Maybe think about squaring the back of the heart a little bit deeper into the floor. I'm more my left shoulder blade. I'm going to squeeze my right shoulder blade in while lengthening more out through the fingertips. Again, you're going to want to draw that belly in, especially at the end of the exhale when all the air is released. It's going to get you deeper into the twist. Inhale. Exhale, uninterlace. Supine one-legged here, Supta Eka Pada Virasana next. So you'll lean over onto the left side, bring the right foot in, see if you can place it right to the outside of the right hip. And the camera's not in the way for you to see me, so I'll turn around. Bring the right foot in. You want it pretty close to the glute here. If you can, a little bit out will do. My knee is originally going to come out to the side. I'm going to squeeze it in. Tuck the tail so you eventually want that lower back to get more into the floor. We're not tilting, pressing into the tail, but trying to bring the lower back into the floor. Keep the knees squeezed in. Press to the top of the foot, trying to get the pinky toe into the floor as well. If the left foot on the floor is too much, you can always lengthen out the left foot. And if the left foot isn't enough, just being on the floor, you can find the back of the thigh, reach that left heel up. Maybe eventually one day you find that foot. I'm not quite there yet, but if you are, go ahead and try to find it. Make sure this knee is not lifting just to get the thigh though. Keep on bringing it back down. Inhale. Exhale, soften out. To be safe, lean over to the left. Maybe you help that right foot out to its side. We'll do the left side. Start leaning over to the right. Pick up that left leg. Bring the top of the foot onto the floor. Nice and snug with the hip if you can get it there. A little bit outward is fine as long as you can hug that knee in. Think about rotating the pinky toe into the floor. And again, tuck the tail. Maybe even keep the hips lifted so you can feel that lengthening at the front of the left thigh. Try to bring them down, keeping that length. The tail's all the way into the floor, tilting back. You're going to have less length for the front of the left thigh. This is a pose you can stay in for up to 5 or 10 minutes too, so if you needed more time in your one-legged hero pose, go ahead and take that pausing the video or do it after practice as well. We'll slowly release. If there's anything else you needed to take before we close, now would be the time. We didn't do any headstand, shoulder stands. If that's something you like to do every practice, go ahead and do that. Otherwise, it's time for Shavasana. So you can lie out on the floor, getting nice and wide. Letting go. Especially in that core area. We used it a bunch. See if you can allow it to soften. Sometimes when I'm using my core a lot, the belly comes in and I forget to let that belly just soften at the end of practice. So take this time to do that now. Come back to that natural, normal rhythm of breath. Using that breath as your anchor during Shavasana. So if you start thinking about other things, come back to the breath. Come back to feeling into the body, trying to soften it. This video will last a couple more minutes. You can take up to 10 minutes or more if you'd like in your Shavasana. Feel free to do that. As always, thanks for watching, guys. See you again later. Namaste.